Welcome back to the Missing Maura Murray podcast. Tonight, as promised, we bring you Umass Outing Club Cabin audio from our venture up there with John Smith, Rick Graves, Alex, and Dan, and of course Lance and I.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to release this. It's something that's been kind of sitting in the drawer in the meantime while we've been on this brief hiatus, and kind of chomping at the bit here to play some segments of it and hear what you guys have to think about it. Maybe we'll comment some on it, but very, very interesting stuff. So the first segment of audio that we're going to play for you is probably, I'm guessing, like 10 minutes in, 15 minutes into the hike. And the hike itself, while it's a pretty flat surface, a pretty level surface as you're going into the cabin, I certainly wouldn't want to do that in the middle of the winter. I just want to put that out there. If it was February and there was snow on the ground, it was slippery. There was many opportunities for rocks to slip, for your feet to get caught in roots sticking out of the ground. I certainly wouldn't be doing this unless I had snowshoes. I certainly wouldn't be hiking up there in the middle of the night in February. Although it seems like a very logical place for Maura to be headed, unless that path was cleared and she had proper hiking equipment with her.
And lights.
I really don't see this as being anything realistic to do in the winter, unless there was a major plan to make it happen. And what you'll hear here in the beginning, within like the first 10 or 15 minutes of our hike, is Rick Graves actually realizing that he couldn't go on anymore. He was experiencing some pretty significant hip pain.
And when we reached the cabin, there's actually a pretty comical moment where John Smith kind of climbs the...
So the cabin is built on a foundation of what looks like railroad ties, interlocking at 90-degree angles to set the cabin up probably 6 to 8 feet, which John Smith climbed up and looked in the living room window. What was really funny to me is that we went to the porch area where there was a front door and assumed it wasn't open, and then proceeded to walk around the cabin. John Smith climbed up the foundation of the cabin and popped his head in the living room window and discovered there to be people already in there, who then told us that the front door was open. We could have just knocked and come in.
But we do have a really pretty wonderful conversation with the owner of the cabin, Eric, and he allowed us to use his audio, so we want to send a big thanks to him.
It was pretty much by coincidence that we found him there in the first place. He periodically goes there over the summer, throughout the year, just to light the fire, just to clean up, just to make sure that everything is running. And we happened to find him there on a weekend where no one else had booked the cabin. And yeah, like you said, Tim, we had a really good conversation with him, and he was very welcoming.
And he did happen to mention that he had spoken to someone about this case and the possibility of Maura being there. We think that was James Renner. And he mentioned that someone was there the weekend before and the weekend after Maura disappeared. So the couple of days before Maura went missing and about 5 or 6 days later. So yes, if Maura had gotten there on Monday night, she would have had to have lit a fire in cold February, but certainly not impossible because someone did it the day before.
Right, and who's to say that there weren't people there waiting for her with a fire lit already?
Okay, so here is that audio.
Yeah, I've been reading up a little bit because I haven't been into it, that long. Since the beginning of the year, I started coming back and reading because of the podcast and everything. So I was pretty much out of it. And so yeah, I've been doing a bunch of reading up on it and stuff like that. Yeah. Seeing what's going on. There's a lot of fucking creeps out there now, and I'm glad I've left it alone.
Well, I'll tell you what, buddy, because it's the only reason. I mean,
I saw people ready to sue you.
Oh, yeah, they want to sue me? Well, they call me.
I just read that the other day. I was like, what the hell?
Let's do it.
Hey, Lance, we're heading in.
You done? You ready?
Yeah, let's
Got
do it.
everything you need?
Yeah, I'm gonna hang by you guys if you guys want to stay close.
I think actually what we were going to talk about was about this cabin and you guys not knowing about it way back when, because supposedly there was an email sent to Fred and you and Dave, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know how that got overlooked unless you're talking, this is the cabin that you were talking about when you said a cabin.
Well, the cabin in question I was talking about way back at the beginning was a cabin that one of her friends had, or somebody had up in this area, but we did not know about Umass owning a cabin up here.
Now, there was rumors mentioned in the SoCo articles about her potentially having a boyfriend that worked at the mountain club area. And it also mentioned one in the Haverhill area. It's kind of unclear if they're talking about the same person. Would any of those people be attached to the cabin that you speak of?
That's very possible. I don't think we ever could come up with a name, or...
Were you ever able to confirm that she did have a boyfriend that worked at the mountain club?
No.
Because living in the Lincoln area, I've never heard any more about that either. There was never any names given, to my knowledge.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I don't ever recall any names, just that they were two brothers or something.
Well, we heard there was the talk of the two brothers who were snowmakers at Loon Mountain.
Right, and I was wondering if that could be even
if this boyfriend could be one of them.
One of them. That was my thought. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
John, what's up with Rockwood, Tennessee?
Well, let me just say this. In investigating this case and checking all the locals that live in that area and people that I've investigated, I have had probably 10 people that have lived in Rockwood, Tennessee before that now live in Haverhill, New Hampshire.
And you keep getting the same name hits?
Yeah.
Me too.
And it's bizarre.
And when you first, I think, mentioned the Rockwood maybe on your Twitter account, it caught my attention because I was like, I've never come across this, and what's the deal? And I became glued to Google for the evening, and
sorry.
No, it's all right. And finally came up with the Rockwood by cross-searching Homosassa, Florida, and Crystal River, Florida, where Butch ended up against Haverhill, New Hampshire. And then that's when I started getting all the radarists and white pages and U.S. search hits on all these different folks. Is a name that comes up often.
Well, I'll tell you something, and I don't mean to stop you right now, but
it's okay.
Of course, live right there on. And from Nashville, New Hampshire, is in the paper. If you look him up, he was arrested for impersonating a police officer.
No kidding.
And yes, and he actually, in the paper, it actually said that he was known to ride around and go through the whole state of New Hampshire, buddy.
John, I got to tell you that the idea of a person driving around pretending to be a cop and pulling people over, I think that there's a lot of smoke there.
An interesting thing that our talk with Witness A kind of put in my mind a little bit was that she said initially, when she was told the vehicle was out of commission that night, that it didn't initially make her think, police involvement. It made her think that maybe the vehicle was in someone's garage and someone from the garage took it for a joyride.
Right, because they say that the police pretty much told them that she couldn't have seen 001 because it was out of service.
And like a lot of people do, they don't think, police involvement. She said out of commission. Well, maybe that means it's in,
So the person working on the vehicle, did he go for a joyride? That's a good thought. But now that you just mentioned the name again, yeah. That's the problem with this case is I keep running into these things that are just so bizarre.
So is there just a lot of people back and forth between Haverhill and Rockwood, Tennessee? Is that what?
Yep.
Seems like they've all lived in those
there.
places in one time or another.
One time or another. And I actually started a topics.
Is there any sort of human trafficking noted between
Well, you know, that's what I've been looking into. Because of the fact that all these people have come here and why. You know, it's weird.
And is it always the same direction? They come from Tennessee and end up here?
Well, I mean, that's hard to trace. Yeah, it's hard to get a grip on when they were exactly there. But, like you say, the Rockwood, Tennessee thing, and you said you found the connected to that as well? Mm-hmm. I hadn't found that connection.
Yep, if you Google Homosassa, Haverhill, New Hampshire, and Crystal River, Florida, you come up with those. Really? And who may have a maiden name or may have married, but that one comes up a lot.
Okay. Huh.
Another one that comes up is who's lived in a number of places, including the town that I grew up in, which I found incredible considering there's not that many people there, hundreds.
Right.
My grandparents actually moved.
Hey guys,
to Homosassa.
I gotta turn around. My hips are bothering me too much. I can't do it.
Really?
Yeah.
That usually bothers me on a hike too.
Yeah, I'm going into a lot of pain. I didn't realize it was gonna be uphill and everything. You know, this treacherous. Sorry. Oh, that's all right,
brother.
No, you good. Oh, that's all right. No.
And I know it's only a little bit further, but
No, that's good.
Shitty.
well, what I have very interesting to me is that in November of 2004, these guys were sent an email about this cabin.
Is it specifically about the Umass?
Yes. And the cabin's right here too.
So who sent the email?
That was sent by Helena to everyone, because she'd received information from the Umass Outing Club. And she in turn sent the email to Rick, Fred, Dave, the other searcher, and Patty and Barbara, the two cousins. So they had that in November of 2004.
Now, I read somewhere that the police ruled this out in both 2004 and 2006.
That's what I'm trying to find out right now. I have somebody that is actually talking to John Scarinza, who's retired now, and she's trying to gain that information from him. You know, it's nothing big. You know, it's just a matter of, did you search it and when? Oh, it's like I heard that crack over there. I was like, bear. According to the email that I have from the Umass Outing Club person that actually was the one who came up here, that is to be the truth, that they were here the weekend before and the weekend, or that weekend that she was here, as well as the one after. And that he had driven up first. He was the first one to get here, and he opens up the cabin for when the students get here. I'm going to take a breather. Oh my God. Whew. Just look under here, Dan. Look under here, the posts, they're all like leaning. The cabin's like...
It's getting a little standish.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All of them.
I got a house just like it.
Yeah. Woodshed.
I think 12 years later that you're looking for.
Jenga, yeah. Well, at least they got these under here. That'll help.
Wheelbarrow. Outhouse. Privy.
Morning.
How you doing?
How are you?
Good. We're filming a documentary about the Maura Murray case. She went missing from Haverhill, New Hampshire.
Oh.
And
What's her name?
Maura Murray.
No, she was
was the one that disappeared.
Yeah, 12 years ago, actually.
I talked to somebody on the phone about that case a few weeks back. They had left a message for me to give them a call back to see what we knew about the cabin and
Oh, okay, yeah.
the club at the time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can't remember who I talked to.
Did you talk to Helena probably, or Norma maybe?
No, it was a man.
Oh, maybe it was Fred then.
Might have been Fred.
Huh. My name's John Smith. I'm one of the investigators working on the case.
If you want to come in, go. The porch door is open.
Do you mind if we all come in?
on
We're
in.
filming and everything, so
Sure,
is that okay?
That's fine.
We get to talk to him. Yay! How you doing? John Smith. Nice to meet you.
Eric Yerpe.
Eric?
Hey, John.
Yeah, I think we had received a letter from William Wirtz.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Quite a while ago.
He's the outing club faculty advisor.
Yeah, yep.
Good, nice to meet you.
Yeah, cool, because when I saw the window open, I said, we can stick the GoPro in there, at least get a picture inside. And you scared the shit out of me. I was like, how did those guys get in? I thought you were one of them. I said, how did they get in there? What are they doing in there?
We own the place.
Oh, you own the place?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hi, Eric Yerpe. Good to meet you.
So you own the cabin and the property, and then...
We're the caretakers for the cabin.
Oh.
The cabin and the property are owned by Umass
Yeah.
through the Umass Outing Club. And I'm sort of the caretaker. We do a work weekend every year to cut firewood, bring propane up, and just keep it usable for the students during the rest of the year.
Gotcha. Cool. Wow. Yeah, I was up here, I think in 2007 is the first time I ever hiked up here, when I first heard about it.
So, yeah, I guess it might have been, if it was Fred I talked to.
Right, James Renner.
Oh, he might.
James.
Yeah.
James
Renner.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he explained how Maura had disappeared, and it's possible she could have been headed here because she was part of UMass, and her involvement with the club was questionable. We didn't know
Right.
whether she'd been part of the group at the time or how active she was. If she'd been part of any work weekends or if she was really involved with the club, I would probably have known her.
No, yeah.
But there are, there's probably 40 or 50 people that do a lot of stuff with the club, and then maybe another 100 that are on the fringes and go on a trip or two and maybe know about the stuff we do, but don't actively participate.
Right. Gotcha.
So you might have already answered this, but you were part of the outing club in 2004?
I was, yeah. So there are a few alumni who keep coming back and helping out.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah. Of course.
me and Jeff, and then Bill Wirtz has been involved since the mid-'80s.
Oh, really? Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's a neat little place, that's for sure.
You mind if we just take a look around a little bit?
Have a look.
Cool. Yeah.
Are you still in touch with St. Baghdadi?
Oh, I haven't spoken with him probably in 10 years. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he's not part of what you do.
Not one of the active alums, I guess, but
Yeah.
I'm sure he's in touch with other people who were club members at the time.
Do you know when the last time he was active in the outing club?
He did a big canoe trip with me in 2003, maybe. We're going back a dozen years anyway.
Yeah, that's quite a while.
Has he been
And
to
then I
this
know
cabin
he's done
before?
other pretty intense hiking, backpacking stuff.
Yep. Do you know if he knew of this cabin?
I'm sure he knew about it. I can't say whether he was actually here because I was never here at the same time he was.
Yeah.
But anyone who's an active member of the club would know about the cabin. Whether they actually come here, that's
Like
Yep.
you said,
Story.
a lot of them don't
Right.
participate.
Yeah, and I think Bill Wirtz said that pretty much the roster's up of who's going, and then he just after it's over, they
After
just
it's
kind
over.
of because what do you need to keep a record for, really?
You don't. Especially then when they probably didn't computerize it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe now, right? Yeah, but
Maybe now, if it was these days, somebody could dig into their files somewhere and maybe find
Yeah.
something. But
well, our main goal is now. I've been with the case for 12 years now, since the beginning, and I'm a local, and we have to turn over every stone. And like I said, I came here in 2007 by myself and took a few pictures outside and did a little cursory searching, but I don't know. I don't have the gut feeling that she came here.
no, I kind of feel this is a blind after you're going down
Yeah,
to,
I mean, I don't, it's just my,
she was,
Yeah.
the clues are she was headed this way, right?
In this general
In
direction.
this general direction.
And she had made calls to the Bartlett area and surrounding areas looking for lodging. And then this came because of a story recently where some kids had some drug reactions here. This cabin went in the news.
Right.
And that kind of hit the blogosphere, around the Maura Murray case. And they're like, oh, well, maybe that was the potential lodging.
Oh, a piece of UMass property
Could
up
be.
there.
Yeah.
Yep. So, it became all connected again. So,
I
yeah.
actually thought in February, I heard it was, you had to reach the cabin by hiking. I was like, in February, there's no way she would, be going up to that, but it's not a very long hike.
It's not a long hike, and
And then we heard, according to the records, the cabin was rented both the weekend before and after her disappearance, so we don't. And is the cabin usually inhabited midweek?
No, it's typically not inhabited during the week, but it is occupied almost every weekend during the school year.
And is there a caretaker in the winter like there is now? No.
There's never a caretaker here, not in the summer either.
Oh.
He and I are just up here scoping it out for a work weekend we're doing.
Oh, yeah?
Every year.
I didn't know there was like an AMC, type hut
No.
where they keep someone around.
Back in 80s, I would say, there was a caretaker who did stay here during the summer. It was a UMOC employee. And he'd live in a little shed out and back, and then people would actually rent the place, but it's been a long, long time since anyone did that.
Yep. Huh. And you're from up here, or are you from
No, I'm
Mass?
from Massachusetts.
Oh, you're from Mass.
Yeah.
You just own the property. Gotcha.
It's I'm a UMass alum, and
Yep.
I've continued my affiliation with the Outing
Yep.
Club. And
Yeah, just like the Dartmouth Outing Club does
Yeah.
on Mount
Yep.
Moosilauke and stuff like that.
Well, I think the biggest thing that we have to look at, as far as Maura having any connection to this, is the fact that she was an avid hiker. So, I mean, it does, kind of add a bit of a connection to it. But again,
so if she'd been involved and knew about the place, then she'd know you could get up here. But if she didn't have some other connections, there's no way she would know this place either existed or that there was a trail there in the winter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was speculation that she had been connected to having a relationship with Hussein Baghdadi for a short period of time.
Okay.
And there was speculation that she might have been trying to get away from maybe Bill Rausch and her old life and have a little bit of a getaway with him. That was kind of some of the questions people were.
Okay. Has anyone talked to Hussein yet?
I believe people have reached out to him, but he has never responded.
He talked to James Renner, the guy that you spoke to previously. Years ago.
But it has not. He hasn't gotten a hold of him lately.
And we've tried to
James Renner has reached out since the story of the.
Since they had the
drug reaction
case here,
he's reached out to him again since and has gotten no response. But
so I have no idea where he is these days.
If she hadn't planned something with him, I don't really see her coming out here at all. Really,
No.
Of her own volition,
No.
by herself.
No, not unless she was with. If she was with girls and they were, just coming to party or something, and they knew about this cabin, I could see it, because it's out of the way and no one would bother them. But boy, that's a lot to go through.
That's a lot to go through the party, and one of them would have to know how to get the fire going. It's minus 10 degrees.
Exactly. Right. And plus, you got to have to get in. You got to have the.
You got to have the
thing to that.
combination.
Right, and she was in the area, after dark, so she would have had headlamps and sort of equipment. And I assume the trail is pretty icy. It's pretty slick on the way up here.
The trail is a mess in the winter.
Sure, it's not very good.
I've always kind of thought that was.
Excuse me.
But like you said, she was looking for lodging in the area, so there are dots. It's just whether or not you can get at them.
Pretty certain that Hussein knew about this place. Whether he ever went here, I don't know. Club people tend to get channeled into whatever events they're really interested in.
Yeah, whether they're a hiker or
so Hussein was a hiker, backpacker type. He did a lot of that,
Yeah.
and an occasional canoe trip. But to my knowledge, he was never here when I was.
Must start a new book every year.
It's actually nice in the wintertime with the leaves are off.
Yeah, it's much brighter in the winter when the leaves are gone and the sun can shine through.
Yeah.
What's that?
I know.
I know. I'd love to see the 2004 one.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a book for every year?
So it's kind of a cabin log, a guest book people can write when they're after they've been here, talk about what they did.
Is there a
Do some of the crazier things, whatever's in there.
is there more of these books?
There are. Yeah, there are books going back. We used to have them on the shelf here, but just to keep them from getting ruined, we brought them back to UMass, and or if there's a gear locker now or put in the library. But
has anybody asked us to look at them?
As far as I know, I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
Because when they came here, did you notice anything out of, was,
knowing that a book like that exists, if there's one from 2004.
maybe we should
There was. There have been logs as long as I've been around.
Well, maybe we'll make that another mission, is to try and track that down at UMass. Maybe we'll put KF or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay. That's a good idea. That might be something.
Well, like I say, even if it doesn't produce anything, I think it's a great thing to have. Is it's actually, we're looking at the 2014 one now, or whatever, but to have the 2004, the year she went missing, would be.
See what somebody wrote in the weekends surrounding.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
Whatever happened.
Yep. Yeah, it was like, we came up to the cabin and there was strange footprints walking out into the woods, but no one was here.
Like I said, I've never really got the sense that was her goal. The only thing that kind of you're able to, maybe make some sort of connection is that maybe they would have known that midweek it wouldn't be occupied. And people are like, well, why would she leave on a Monday?
Right.
That's the only sort of speculation that kind of leads to, well, maybe
vacant.
she, but there's no other evidence to support that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if, say someone was staying, it was already open,
Right.
and someone came and did that. Oh, look at that. The book's here.
No, but they found the copy in her car, so unless she had two.
Right, yeah.
Or she sold them out of her trunk.
Good thing you showed up.
Have either of you ever read that?
I tried. I started getting. I wasn't in a good mental spot to do it.
Did you get the sense that death and the deaths in those books were romanticized or glorified, or?
No.
It's a cautionary tale about being caught basically in the presidentials in bad weather, and it can happen anytime. It's basically about like August snowstorms, and this guy's father died, and it does not translate to her. Her favorite mountain was Mount Washington, and I said this to Tim yesterday. If anyone who's ever hiked Mount Washington, it is the least serene mountain you can go on.
Oh, no, yeah.
There's a parking lot up top with a cafeteria, and
it's like Disneyland.
I hiked up there. I went up the toughest way. I got up there, ate my meal, got out of there as fast as possible.
Yeah, when I did that, we got up there, and it was like, once we're up there, it was gorgeous, to see. And then the weather changed, it went.
But you never got the sense of, I'll just sit here. No. This will be where I'll sit here and die.
There's a cog that goes up.
And screams, whistles every hour on the hour.
Yeah.
To be honest, Mount Kerrigan, which is the mountain where those coordinates are, would be more of a. That's actually my favorite mountain of all the 48 4,000 footers to hike. You have the best view of all the other mountains from that mountain. You can see like 46 of the other 48. Really? It's only because Mount Washington blocks the other two. It is one of the best, but it's also much more of a. It's a 7-mile hike to get to either way you go. There's two trails to get that. It's 7 miles to that point where the coordinates are. In February,
no.
Even if that was my favorite mountain, I still wouldn't go there to just sit down and die. And
no remains have ever been found.
No.
So it's not even certain.
No. It's still an active investigation.
Right.
You're live now.
But they treat it as a criminal investigation, and the New Hampshire State Police have gone on record saying they believe something. She met with foul circumstances.
Okay, and now we're going to play John Smith and Alex going into a sauna, which is up there, which is really kind of old and I guess spooky would be a fine word to use.
Yeah, it's definitely spooky. It's definitely homemade. It's up a little bit of a hill behind the cabin. I'd say probably 20 yards or so behind the cabin, maybe a little bit more. Very rustic. This is when we say sauna, we're not talking about finished wood and a nice stone steam bath. This was something that we went inside, and the first thing that happens, which is pretty funny, is the door is weighted. So when you open the door, a weight comes down on the other side because it controls the door staying shut. So when you open it, the weight moves, and you get to see this weight move, and you're adrenaline is amped up anyway. And then when you open a door and you see something move behind it, I don't care how many times you go in there, it startles you.
And the pitch black, too.
And it's pitch black. Yeah, it's pitch black. There's tarps hanging in between the main door and the sauna room. It's dusty. There's newspapers on the walls. There's pictures on the walls. It seems incredibly uncomfortable to me. Second I walked in there, I thought I would never come here to relax.
Also, there was a well up there, and that was definitely a pretty interesting moment, so take a listen to that.
Now they said back before 1980 there was a caretaker who stayed here summer, all summer. Is that the sauna?
No, it's up there. It's like that blue. You'll see it in the
Oh, it's up there a ways.
Yeah.
And I was saying about, winter hiking up this would be different. This is kind of treacherous now. All the wooden stuff is really slippery.
Hello? A little scary looking in there.
What's in there? Nothing really?
No, it's kind of just a stove, old stove with no chimney on it, and then like a 4 bench seat.
Picture of Bob Dole.
Picture of Bob Dole in the sauna.
Yep.
What the fuck?
These newspapers are from 1983.
Really?
Yeah. But they're tin. What is that all about?
They're who?
These are tin newspapers. What is that? Is it some sort of like wall covering? Did you guys see this? I can't tell how deep it is. You can see some sort of a pipe right there. I can't tell if it goes down a foot or 30. There's one way to find out.
Oh, they have a well for this thing?
I'm not sure. You can see a pipe. It might just end right there, or it might go well past that. I didn't feel bottom.
What did you do if something grabbed it?
At least 5 feet.
Oh, there is a bottom.
Okay. Right there. So.
That's about 5 feet.
Down in there.
5 feet.
Can you feel anything on the bottom when you move that around?
It was kind of squishy, but hard.
And now here is an interview with Dan, who elected to not give his last name for this audio. And we find some of this audio, actually this interview, to be very interesting. And I was sort of elated at one part of it, kind of really made me laugh. Maybe you'll be able to figure that part out for yourself. But what did you think, Lance?
I like Dan. I think Dan really has a good head on his shoulders. He approaches things in a very quiet, pragmatic way. And yeah, he's not your typical I'm obsessed with the case type person. He came with us, he volunteered his time, and pretty sure bought us some beers after. So anyone who does that is a pretty good dude in my book. The interview kind of encapsulates a lot of what the people who followed the case are like once they start like rolling with it.
First got interested in the case the first time it was reported in the Caledonian Record way back in February 2004. I was a substitute teacher at a high school locally, and I was proctoring study hall, and the kids would go out for lunch, and I'd leave campus to go get my own food and a newspaper and come back and read current events with the students. And when this case first came up, I said basically what the cops said too, was that this is an out-of-state college kid who's been drinking and driving and spun her car out and bailed on it, and she'll be back in a couple of days. And that's exactly what I said to the 30 kids that were in that class. Come to find out that that's not the case, and I kind of lost touch with it for a few years, but after going back online and reading some of the older message boards and John's adventures on topics over the years and so on and so forth, I really got a better grasp of the case. And then of course James's blog really brought a lot of information out, and I've just kind of been stuck on it. It's something that's taken place very close to where I grew up and where I live, so it's very tangible to me. It's not something that's like late night entertainment. Like if there's something really going on here, I'd really like to know what it is. And honestly, I feel a lot for Fred Murray and their family. They want their daughter back, and I think they deserve closure and some kind of a better answer than what they've been given so far. And I'm just really interested in it and hope to learn more in the future.
Cool. Would you call yourself obsessed?
Yeah, I'd call myself obsessed, and probably a lot of people who are close to me would say that I'm obsessed too.
When was the moment? Do you remember the moment that you realized you were obsessed?
Yeah, it was probably right around the 10th anniversary, and there was a lot of chatter online, and I thought that I don't really know much about the crash site itself, so I got in my car and just drove down there and saw what struck me about it, and I kind of took notes and mileage, and then next thing you know, I've got a binder of information, the reports that James got from the different police departments and so on and so forth. I've got all that stuff printed out and highlighted and notated, and yeah, it was probably around that time that I really knew that it's more than a hobby and more than just an interest. It consumes a lot of my day, honestly.
Does it take a toll on other parts of your life? Relationships, jobs, things like
that? Well, I had a girlfriend for a long time that at least appreciated my interest in the case, but it was more along the lines of something that she teased me about, nothing that she ever got upset about. My current girlfriend, she just kind of plays it off as something that I do. It hasn't gotten in the way of our relationship or with my new daughter or anything like that. It gets a little slow at work sometimes though, and I'm afraid that if the corporate IT folks were to take a closer look at the amount of clicks that I take on any given day, they might ask some questions, but I definitely don't put aside my work in order to Google things, but there's definitely a great deal of research that goes on while I'm at work, and hopefully I'm meeting all of my obligations and responsibilities there and not shirking too much in the name of trying to find out more about this case.
So I heard you're expecting?
Actually, we just had the child 2 months ago, and she's beautiful, and we went in on a Monday morning to be induced the day after the due date, and my girlfriend was in the bed getting the on-demand nitrous oxide while I'm sitting in the corner on my phone looking up Maura Murray information online, trying to...
In the delivery room?
Yes, sir.
I love that.
I am not obsessed.
That's amazing.
Okay, that part just cracks me up when he says he checked in the delivery room.
You know what cracked me up is when he said yes, sir. When you had to double check with him what he just said, and he says yes, sir.
Great moment.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone, and we can't wait to bring you something new very soon.